Sherman Alexie was born October 7, 1966 in the Spokane Indian Reservation. His parents were Sherman Joseph Alexie Sr. and Lillian Agnes. His dad, Sherman Alexie Sr., was an alcoholic who was usually not there for him, so the load was given to his mom to carry. She would work many jobs just so she can support her 6 children. His family's residence was in the poor environment of the Spokane Indian Reservation, which is a setting for many of his books. These reservations are known for their activities of drug and alcohol use and violence. Although not the best parents, they were worried for Alexie. Just like the main character in the absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian, he was born with a serious condition named hydrocephalus. That resulted in Alexie undergoing brain surgery at the tender age of 6. Although he was not expected to live and had multiple seizures during his childhood, he survived. Able to function, he started attending school in the reservation. Alexie claimed school was rough, as he was often teased and regularly excluded from social events and activities due to his disabilities. Surprisingly, Alexie turned out to be an excellent student. Dedicated to succeed and not rot in the reservation, Alexie was determined to get out of the reservation school in order to find a better education. He made the decision to leave the reservation school and started attending a high school in Reagan, Washington. Despite the fact that he felt he betrayed his people, he did great in the new school by not only exceeding academic expectations, but also became successful in basketball and in extracurricular activities. His accomplishments during high school obtained him a scholarship to attend Gonzaga University. Unfortunately, he dropped out in 1987 due to the fact that his pre-med program made him sick. Pressured to succeed in college, he started drinking but later quit when he met the famous poet Alex Cole at Washington State University. There, Alex ignited a passion for writing in Alexie, which encouraged him to start writing. Afterwards, he graduated with a bachelor's degree and he continued writing. He gained lots of attention after his publication of The Lone Ranger and the Tonto Fistfight in Heaven, which was a success that gave Alexie lots of attention. His writing continues to be highly praised and admired. Today, Alexie is now a renowned writer who helps the Native American community. He is married to Diane Tomhev and they live with their 2 sons in Seattle. Alexie is a writer who likes to convey his life's experiences in many of his novels, especially in the novel The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. In this novel, the main character, Arnold Spirit, is an Indian who lives in the Spokane Indian Reservation. Just like in the real world, it is filled with poverty, alcoholism, and violence. Just like Alexie, Jr. leaves the reservation in order to succeed in life. Leaving the reservation, Jr. faced the adversity of the world due to his race, all while trying to accomplish his dream. Another story he wrote, Flight, is about a kid named Zitz. Zitz is a 15-year-old who lives in Seattle. Unfortunately, Zitz is an orphan and does not care of his actions. After committing a heinous act of violence, Zitz is mysteriously transported back in time. He inhabits the bodies of 5 other men at various points in history and learns of his shortcomings through their trial and errors. Alexie's contribution to literature is influenced by his view on society, especially his point of view on his people. In both previously mentioned books, a theme that pops up in them is poverty. It is common in reservations that Alexie used to live in. Poverty can lead to filthy conditions, poor education, and violence. They try to drown their sorrow with alcohol, but Native Americans did not have it like this. They once roamed America freely, but as more people around the world started colonizing in young America, the territory of the Native Americans started diminishing. Conflict soon started rising as the battle for land commenced, in which one can say the Native Americans lost due to technological inferiority and the misleadment of the invaders. After some time, the U.S. government became too much for the Native Americans, which led the U.S. government to build reservations just for the Native Americans to be left alone. The U.S. government will fund necessary supplies to the Native Americans, but the supplies were low-priced and cheap. The reservations themselves were made of a low budget and never given proper repairs when needed to. Although stuck in a reservation, the Native Americans' culture survived, but not without some struggles. They live in severe despair and distress. For example, in one novel, Alexis says that Indians don't get to realize their dreams because they have no chances or choices. They're just poor. Through his writing, Alexie describes to the reader the hardships the Native Americans had and still go through. Even though life was rough growing up, Alexie persevered through the challenges the reservation and the world forced upon them. Enforcing the idea of not living up to one's stereotypes and growing out of them, he became a successful Native American writer.